guys? William Holtz with Lake TV here at Shewmaker's Top Gun Gym here in Gravois Mills, Missouri, and I've got Sam the Hillbilly Hammer Shewmaker joining me. Man, what's been going on?
Not much, just hard work, clean living.
All right, we're going to go right into it. Let's talk about your last fight, Chase Sherman, Bare Knuckle FC. Talk us through it.
You know, it was a tough opponent going into it. We knew that Chase Sherman had a good UFC background. He has fought on multiple UFC cards, had lots of knockouts, very few losses, just a good stand-up guy. And with this being bare knuckle, we knew it was going to be a tough outing, so we trained hard, went in there, fought our hearts out. We felt like we should have come away with the win, but we, come home with the draw. So, it's kind of a tough draw, but at least it wasn't a loss. And, we learned a lot from that fight, and it was good to be able to compete with somebody at that level. So. And
still getting fights. Obviously, a huge fight coming up on Friday, August 16th. Brawl in the Hall in Kansas City. And you got Kenzie Morrison. Obviously, those of you don't know, the Duke Morrison, obviously his son, but he's never lost a fight. How you feel going into that fight?
I feel good. I feel like we've trained hard, and we're the veteran going into this fight. The pro record doesn't show. I've only had 5 professional boxing matches, but I've had lots of amateur fights. The bare knuckle pro fights have really helped me come a long ways in my maturity in the ring and as a professional athlete. So I feel like we're fully prepared and ready to go.
One thing that I don't think a lot of fighting and boxing fans understand is the prep that goes into a big fight. And when you've got an opponent you know about, things that go into that nature as far as finding out about your opponent. Talk to us about that preparation process.
First and foremost, you got your diet that you have to follow and really to be at your maximum capacity as an athlete. To train at this level and to compete at that level, you have to do everything right. As much as you can. So with that being said, my diet and my training regimen has been vigorous, and it's really been, it's life-changing when you do it that way. We feel really good going into it. We've really been prepping on this, starting with watching the videos of Kenzie that he's got online, watching film, just like in any sport that, you want to go and watch your opponents, see their weaknesses, and try to exploit them on fight night. So.
Yeah, and obviously, the namesake. Anytime that your father is, a world champion, obviously knocked out George Foreman, people know about that. And you do the same thing Dad does. You have an incredibly or big shoes to fill, if you will. But he's done some good things. The young man, he's 15-0 with only 2 draws, so he's never lost, and 13 knockouts in his 17 professional fights. So what are you going to do? What's the Hillbilly Hammer going to do to beat Kenzie on Friday?
We're going to do a lot of things. We're going to put some pressure on him. We're going to hurt him. We're going to put him down. We don't want to go to a decision. We don't want to give it to the judges to give them the opportunity to give it away to somebody else. We want to put him down. So we're going to go at him. We're going to go hard, and we're going to put him down.
Very good. So that's a huge fight. Again, Brawl in the Hall in Kansas City. Tickets available on Eventbrite. Those are sold out except for general admission. You could also get those at jgkentertainment.com. But next I want to talk about, kind of where all of this, really took off and got started is, the Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. So I want to talk about that. But the first thing I want to talk about in regards to that is the Adams fight, the title fight. How did you lose that fight?
It was a heartbreaker. Anytime you leave it up to the judges, you're liable to get something taken from you, and that's exactly what happened that night. We felt very confident going into the fight, and then even after the fight, before the judges declared it was a split decision and that he had won, we thought that we had won. The crowd thought we had won. We even went home later and reviewed film, and we saw, yeah, we won that fight. But that's what happens sometimes when you leave it up to the judges. Their perspective and your perspective are different and other people's, and it's just, it's just a tough loss, and it's something to learn from is what we're trying to do.
And, getting back to bare knuckle, a lot of us, that have been close to it and following it and watching your journey feel like you deserve another title shot. When is Sam Shewmaker going to get back on the card with bare knuckle? I know you got to rest last one because you got to keep your big fighters, rested. But are there plans to have you fighting again in bare knuckle in the near future?
As of right now, there's not a date set, but we're looking at an October show. Hopefully closer to home, thinking maybe Kansas. Hopefully headline that event, and maybe even later this year, or if not early next year, fighting for the title again. As long as I keep winning and doing good, I should be one of the runners up, I would think. So.
Well, and Sherman, who you had the draw with, he gets the title shot against Adams on the upcoming card. Does that not necessarily sit easy with you?
It does rub me wrong a little bit, but at the same time, I had a boxing match scheduled before he was picked to step in, because he is actually a replacement from a guy from Mexico, and either something to do with the guy's visa, something wasn't working out, so he wasn't able to make the fight. So they grabbed Sherman and put him in there. And to me, I think that with Sherman's experience and him fighting for the UFC and being a big name as he is, I'm okay with him getting the title shot. As a matter of fact, I think he's going to beat Adams. So it's going to be me and Chase for the title in the future, not me and Arnold Adams.
You heard it right here. Sherman over Adams for the Bare Knuckle Fighting Champion heavyweight title right here. Sam Shewmaker told us first. One of the things I want to ask you about as well is, because I know, you're working a full-time job. You're a family man, obviously, those of you that don't know. So what is a day in the life like for you right now, as far as the full-time job, the family, all the boys, and of course still trying to prep for the fights?
Getting up early and getting to work and then getting home, and as soon as I do, I'm right back out the door. I change my clothes, I get my water, and sometimes my boys who come with me, to train, will come with me, and we'll go and we'll spend 2 to 3 hours out training, trying to get better and prepare for this big event. So it's taxing. It feels like I miss out on a lot of things, but in the end, the sacrifice is going to be worth it. So.
Speaking of, I asked about the boys. We got a chance to see, a couple of them in here warming up. You talked about Jackson might be having his first fight come up. Talk about that.
Yeah, we're talking about possibly my uncle is going to put on a amateur boxing show in the local area, possibly in Versailles, and we're going to have some of the local talent from the area be on it, and my son might possibly be one of those. He's been talking for a while about wanting to have a fight, and I told him, I said, if you get in there and you train hard and you show me that you want to do it, I'll let you do it. So if he wants to, yeah.
Lake's got a lot of good, the towns that make up the Lake got a lot of good local fighters, and a lot of them come through this gym right here. One other thing, Sam, I want to talk about is if Bare Knuckle, gives you another shot or gives that map back to the title belt and it happens to be Sherman, what do you think your chances are you go against him again?
I say you give me him a fight somewhere outside of Mississippi without those Mississippi judges, it's going to be okay. But either way, I feel like we're going to come in prepared no matter where the fight's at, and it's going to be a knockdown drag out, and this time it's not going to go to a decision.
Probably before it ever gets to that point, there's going to be a couple other matches. And does the name Alex Emelianenko mean anything to you?
I did see the other day on social media that he's a possibility for signing with BKFC, and I would expect to sign a big name like that, they're going to want him to fight a big name in the BKFC. So I'm anxiously awaiting the phone call to see if I get him first.
Pretty big guy, obviously a long track record in the UFC, could make for a pretty big bout, upcoming card. Obviously, we don't know for sure, but Sam, I thank you so much for your time. Super excited to see what happens Friday. We're going to be there. You're going to take down Kenzie, and then we go back, to looking at Bare Knuckle FC. One last time, Sam the Hillbily Hammer Shewmaker coming up, Brawl in the Hall, Friday, August 16th in Kansas City. Get your tickets at Eventbrite and jgkentertainment.com.